just don't, we weren't recording yet, and we are now about to be, so.
All right, it's Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. I'll call the City of Rollingwood Park Commission meeting to order. First item up is to call roll. I'm Chad Smith.
Laurie Mills.
Don Hudson.
Mary Elizabeth Cofer.
Victoria Johnson.
And I believe we've got Melissa via Zoom.
Via her car.
Yep, I'm right here.
She's nodding.
Eyes on the road, eyes on the road.
Yes, that's right. I'll be there in just a sec.
Oh,
So, first off, we'll go with public comments. Citizens wishing to address the Park Commission for items not on the agenda be received at this time. Please limit comments to 3 minutes in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. The Park Commission is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on our agenda. If you're wishing to address us for matters on the agenda, we'll listen to you when your item is considered. Does anybody want to make any public comments?
I have a question. Can a citizen in a meeting speak up and comment on an agenda item without registering prior to the meeting? Is that okay in the Open Meetings Act?
That's more of a question for Ashley, I think.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, for any item on the agenda, anybody can speak at any
Yeah.
item, given that they're recognized by the chair, which generally
Yeah.
always happens.
Oh.
Which happens every time.
Mhm.
They usually sign up right there as they walk in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't have any idea if you want to comment, I mean,
Yeah. No,
It's
if you
not
if you
required.
jump in here at the last second and want to comment, and I guess it's up to me, but I've never turned anybody down, to
We
my
usually-
knowledge.
We just like
So
to
next
sign up
time you
sheets.
can speak up, Don.
I will.
Yeah,
Yep.
the sign-up sheets just so we can capture, names and everything if we need it later, usually.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Discussion and possible action on the minutes from the December 12th, 2023 Park Commission meeting. Anybody got any issues with those?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed say nay. It passes. All right, number 3, discussion and possible action to elect a chair of the Park Commission.
I
Is that-
propose that we elect Melissa Morrow for chair.
Oh, God.
You missed a meeting. That's what happens.
I like it.
You're stepping down, or is your term expired?
Well, I just felt like we should shake things up. I mean, he's done a great job, but
Agreed.
why not Melissa? And she's not here to stop us. Can we do this?
She's here. She's listening.
I think so.
Melissa, would
my
you be
gosh.
willing to serve as the chair for the Park Commission?
Oh, dang it.
I think
Can you
that-
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm pulling in right now. Yes, I'm willing to do it. I think Chad's done a great job. But yeah, I'm willing to do it.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay. Any discussion? With no discussion, everybody in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed say nay. All right, motion passes. Melissa's our new chair.
And Chad, I hope you know this has nothing to do with your performance. I think you've done great. And you've been certainly patient with taking it on when I think we blindsided you when we asked you to do it.
Yes, you did.
I messed up a little bit, yeah.
You got elected. Congrats, Chair.
I guess I'll really be trying to be on time next time.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it.
Okay.
All right, number 4, update from Western Hills Little League and Western Hills Girls Softball. Steve?
All right, thank you very much. We are in the midst of registration for the spring season. I believe Little League is also, I've seen their signs out. So At least our plan for softball is to start practices the first week of February, and then first games will probably be Saturday, March 2nd. And then we go on spring break for the next 2 weekends, and then be back March 23rd. And then off Easter weekend. I don't know if you guys follow the same schedule.
I think it's almost the exact same.
Yeah, we found out Easter weekend doesn't really work too well, so
Correct.
we went away from that a few years ago. So we'll be off that 3:30 weekend, and then back on 4/6 through 5/11 will be our last weekend. And at least from us, we're hit or miss whether we're here or not. We'll evidently have the schedule because we evidently go to other fields and stuff around town more than Little League does.
When did you say the season actually starts?
For games or practices?
Both.
Practices will start the first week of February. I'm looking at that like 2/5 probably. And then first game probably will be 3/2. We looked at maybe starting in February, but we're not sure on that. But I know for sure it'll be by 3/2. And then, like I said, spring breaks 3/9, 3/16 will be off, then back for one weekend, and then off 3/30 weekend for Easter. And we'll be working on, I know we'll work on the windscreens. That's something we got to look at. And then working on the field somewhat too. I think we're looking to do a French drain like Little League did by one of their
By the
dugouts.
dugouts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the one on this side always floods. I
Yeah.
think that's the one you guys did.
The
also.
third base
Just-
side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
it was
first
our,
base side,
our
you,
first
third
base side,
base,
your third
us.
base side, yeah.
So we'll be trying to do the same thing with KMI, who's done a great job, I know, for Little League and helping out when we need it too.
It appears to be working on the Little League dugouts.
But that's it. Any questions, concerns?
Was that just for softball or Western Hills Little League also?
That's our official for softball. I don't know. Little League usually is synced about the same.
Roughly the same, yeah.
But evidently they'll be on the fields a lot more than us. Their numbers are way higher than ours. So
Do you have numbers for this season?
we're in
y'all
the
have-
middle of registration, so
Okay.
we're,
It's not
we've got up
solidified.
2 to 3 more weeks of registration. So, but hopefully, we'll have every age group. Hopefully, we'll have 14U. We haven't had that in a couple years. So we're hoping to get an older group this year because we had a lot age up, but we still are looking for a couple more at that age group.
That'd be awesome.
Do you know anything about y'all's numbers on track for the usual? More or
Um,
less?
I think we're pretty steady around 800
Okay.
players, league-wide. So that's
Total for the,
yeah, that's
Little
First
League.
Street Fields and Joseph and Hatley. So
okay. So that's for a broader league than just,
correct.
okay. A lot of players.
But yeah, hopefully by next meeting, we'll have at least maybe not game schedules yet, but at least practice schedules hopefully set up that you guys will know when the practices are. The past year or two, we've been working with Little League also to try to get more Little League like when we can't use Field 3, we'll give it up to Little League because they evidently have a lot more teams looking for practice times and stuff.
And that'll be posted on the website, or where are we posting that these days?
We put it on the bulletin board at the park. We also put it on our facility calendar. So we have a online calendar for when people go to rent the pavilion or the fields, and we usually input all those dates. But we can send that out as well. We can share that with the commission.
Okay. I mean, I don't care about personally seeing it. I'm thinking about people who think they have access to a field they don't,
Right.
and making sure that we don't have any issues.
We will be sure that our posting is available for everyone. But generally, we do put a hard copy on the bulletin boards up there as well, so anyone who's there can see.
Great.
And I think did we post like a thing near fields 3, 4, 5 saying practices were gonna start here in the next week or so.
Yeah, I believe
Something
so,
like
yeah.
that, just to give people a
I think
heads
that was
up.
a good idea.
Yes, that was a good idea.
Practices start February 2nd or whatever it is, and we'll be using it from 4 to 6 p.m. Something like that
So
would be
I'll
helpful.
just work with Little
How
League.
about
'cause-
these fields are unavailable during these times for the next however many weeks, and that way it's very clear who
So
has priority.
It was on my list as either one of the capital improvement projects or, I mean, we can definitely discuss it on here. But I agree, I think having, the more we can help people be good, neighbors with one another, but letting them know that, if a scheduled practice is is happening, then there can be no off-leash dog happening on 3, 4, and 5.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, I
I think that'd
don't know.
be a good idea.
But I mean, and just saying this is, because it's, again, it's nice to be able to point to something that's right there and says,
Yes.
hey, we're in the middle of practice, we do get priority. Now, if it's just random people jumping on, that's a different discussion altogether.
Correct. It's got to be
But-
organized sports.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
but if they're having an organized practice, then that's, and yeah, actually, if we can have the connection so that you can go on, cause I'd hate to do a blanket 4 to 6 from these weeks, because, okay, nobody's on there on Tuesdays from 5 to 6. I don't want people to think they can't go out there, you know, but I also know if you have a rain out, you may move a practice to that open spot.
That's right.
So it's more like the protocol is that if there's a organized practice happening, they take precedent first, and then,
Ashley, do you know what our sign said last year? Are these reusable signs,
I don't
or
remember.
do we need to make that investment?
We'll probably make some new ones. I don't know where they're at, if they did get saved, but
I've
Yeah,
probably got it in my emails, and I can send it to you if I can find it.
yeah, I'm sure we have the language too. We can work with, Melissa on that too,
Yeah.
and make sure we have something that everyone agrees with.
and basically have it at each gate. So as you enter.
That'd be great.
You know, that'd
Yeah, I think we did that last year.
Yep.
And in the past few years, it's been a lot better.
Yeah.
It kind of takes about a week for people to get used to it. And I think, if I just remember, a lot of times softball has started before baseball on practices. And so when you get only one team practicing on field 3, some people feel like they can have the dogs on the other side,
yeah,
which shouldn't be the case, but
Yeah.
per the ordinance. So it just, like I said, it takes about a week to get people used to and then once baseball's out there, it's pretty full, so you can't
Yeah.
really have dogs
Yeah.
out there,
yep, yep.
so.
I've got a random question
Yes.
for you. Would it do any good would it be useful or even used at all if we put a recycling container out there next to the fields? As it is, we have recycling bins, but they're up at the street. Would it be helpful if we put them closer to the fields during this season that the children are out there? Would they use them, or would they most likely just throw trash in them?
Yeah, I mean, some people might use them, but, a lot of people are just gonna, I think from when I've seen things up there, like even, like when we had a bin for dirt fill, like people think it's the trash can. And so, like, I think you're just gonna get mixed usage
Okay.
probably.
Then that's just gonna cause more work. So
I
never
think
mind.
so, but,
Yeah. And on that bin for dirt, it clearly stated.
no,
that
I
this was
know,
just for
but
People don't read.
you would open it up and there'd be trash in there, so.
Yeah. Okay, just I was
I mean,
pretty sure.
we can try it for a season and just see how it works. I know we try to use the trash cans as much as possible. That doesn't always happen, so we got to clean dugouts every now and then. But
I think it's most important that we don't create more work for anybody. So let's leave it alone.
okay,
Thank you, though.
yeah,
Anything else?
no,
I think we're good.
all right, thank you.
Awesome. Moving on to regular agenda item number 5, discussion and possible action to create rules for the park commission. I think this is maybe a carryover from several others back, but if you want to discuss, Mary
I would
Elizabeth?
still like to have a limit on how long a person can speak, either us or anybody, any guest speaker, whether it's
Don't we
anybody.
already have that though?
No, we don't.
Well, we
We've
have
discussed
a
it.
It was
3 minute
3 minutes.
nominal, but a person, the chair can grant people more time.
Okay, so the 3 minutes is related to public comments, I believe. And the items on
Okay.
the agenda, we may not have a limitation, but if we want to vote on one,
Oh,
we can.
okay. Well,
Not for us.
so public
for
speak,
us?
so for
No,
anybody
for-
speaking.
Yeah, be clear. Are you talking about somebody over there or
Yes,
somebody here?
Somebody over there.
Okay.
Will that include the liaison?
Yes,
Okay.
Do we have a liaison still?
yeah, we always will.
I know, but I just,
Kevin is still liaison.
okay. Well, normally he's here, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything, I just, in
Go
case
ahead.
I needed to step in, I was just
Oh.
stating. Just wanted to be close.
She's in a ready
Do
position.
you have a recommendation for us? I mean, I feel like we have the 3-minute rule.
Oh, I didn't know that we did for sure. I wanted to make sure.
We
that
did. We weren't enforcing it a couple meetings ago, but since that meeting, we've been enforcing it.
And it's just at the discretion of the chair, truly. I think the board could, talk about what they would like, and I think the chair would probably take that into consideration. No other board or commission has a set of rules other than BOA, and theirs is more like a statutory, they have to have a set of rules and
Right.
follow it, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then, the only other thing I can think of is that I really think that y'all should provide refreshments.
Like margaritas, or what are we talking about?
Margaritas, right.
I don't
Cookies.
see
I
a
would
problem.
second that motion.
I don't see a problem. Is this recorded?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was kidding.
Right?
I wasn't.
I
All right,
have
anything
some
else?
thoughts on the,
On the rules?
yeah,
Go
I
for it.
took, there's, this, I guess Kevin edited it, and, he went in and struck through some things and underlined some additions, but I broke that down into what the park commission can do. We can help maintain and preserve the park. We can make recommendations regarding leases and policies for commercial use. We can review records, maintain expenditures associated with the development and upkeep of city-owned parks.
Is this what we approved last month?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one in here that it's, the language is unclear. He struck something out which made the sentence, it says, it's paragraph, section 2027, 20-27, section C, it says, Commission shall conduct negotiations with appropriate parties regarding any lease. Then part is struck out. So do we do that? Do we negotiate leases? All
So-
lease agreements are subject to approval by city council. Is that,
So last week, this was the one I commented on, or last
Yeah.
month, this is the one I commented on as well. So we used to, I mean, when the lease is up, we do, but the only lease, I mean, we really work on is we provide a recommendation for the softball Little League lease, and that was done several years ago, and it's many years until that will be up again, but we don't make a decision on that, we just advise. And then the other lease is sort of, it's not really a lease, but the other thing that we had worked on in the past is the group exercise and things like that. But the only lease we really have provided information on is Little League and softball, and we haven't done that while you're here because hasn't come up yet.
I just missed that. Yeah, well, so, for example, somebody that wants to use the park for a yoga class or something,
That's our,
we wouldn't
That's-
consider that a lease.
no.
That's something else.
It's a license,
So really, on that, we,
Permit.
permit, whatever.
we don't really conduct negotiations with anybody about leases.
No, we
Well-
just provide recommendations to the council, and the council takes it
Okay.
and does that negotiation.
And then the other thing is we maintain a list of maintenance items and give to the city. We maintain a list of proposed capital improvements, projects to be sent to the city annually during budgeting process. So really, these are all just about record keeping keeping up with maintenance, and once a year, capital improvement projects. And, you know, I got all hot and bothered about that, and I made I walked the park with Vicky, and we made a big long list of everything that she thought we needed to be done on a periodic basis. And I made a map and coded it to the map, and to me, that was the only way to do something like this, is to get somebody that knows what's needed and is familiar, make a list, put it on a map, and here it is. But the Park Commission wasn't interested. It was-
Well, I think
You know,
that's
I-
true, because Ashley, didn't we say that we wanted to get a report from Izzy at least quarterly?
They use that. Izzy
Okay,
uses,
good.
Izzy
Okay.
uses that. They use that. But I'm saying,
Yeah, we've had maintenance lists in the past.
well, I put that out as a work in progress.
Yes.
I'm not trying to say, this is it. This
Well,
is
we
the final
had
deal.
one when Wendy Hundley was on the park commission, and we've had one in the past, and then because it was becoming overwhelming and not being followed, then we went to, okay, what are the top 3 priorities for that quarter? So there are things that are already on Izzy's to-do list as part of ongoing maintenance, is my understanding. So please don't take it as it
I
wasn't.
don't.
Okay,
I
good.
don't.
Well,
Because it's just,
No, believe me.
there
I
have
don't.
been several of those over the course of the year, and over the course of the years, and what we're trying to figure out as, you know, Joe Bob, what was his name? The first guy before Vicky, and then now we have Izzy, whatever works for their teams.
So I guess my question is, if that is our charge to be involved in maintenance, how do we do that?
Well, I
My
don't know
thoughts
it's our
were-
charge to be in, I don't think that's our charge.
Well,
I think making recommendations regarding the maintenance is something that's in there. The way kind of we're trying to approach it is, when you guys do the walkthroughs, you identify things. We are going to take all of that feedback and put that into our ongoing maintenance. I don't know that we necessarily want to always present our ongoing maintenance plans, but we love the quarterly walkthroughs where y'all will check up on what you're seeing in the park. And if you see something that's not being addressed, we can add it to our list. If you see more one-off projects, those can go later on that bigger kind of capital improvements list. But we have taken many of those recommendations from that original document. They're on their radar in their kind of ongoing list. It may not be structured in a way that's presented every month. But
so what you all would like and Izzy would like is just you all maintain a working list of what has to be done, and you just wanted us to help you keep that updated with our walkthroughs.
basically, just let us know if you feel like things are getting missed or things aren't getting addressed, or if you think something's working. If it's, something, looks like, oh, the new maintenance on the fields are going really well. Like, that's
Okay.
important feedback for us.
Okay.
And I'll talk a little bit later in the agenda about the walkthrough process. We've kind of come up with some checkpoints throughout the year where we'll be bringing it back to this group quarterly. Y'all will be doing the walkthrough quarterly. We'll be checking up internally and then giving the feedback report to the entire commission before the next walkthrough. So we'll kind of go through all of that.
One
But
of
I
the
think
next
it's
walkthrough is tomorrow.
is it next? I think it's next week.
Oh, is it next week?
I think it might be a week from today. Pretty sure. The 16th?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it sounds like you have something in place already that's
Mhm.
reporting. Can
Well,
we get a copy of that? Because I don't know about you guys, but I loved being able to read the police report about what was happening in the parks. That's super helpful. It's just like a snapshot, one pager. I know what happened this last month.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I guess that's what I would love, is a snapshot, one pager. Here's, all this stuff. And it doesn't have to be every month. It could be every other month, depending on
Sure.
what Izzy's reporting to you. But I assume, in order to keep him accountable, you're probably saying, okay, project was on here, this one's complete, this one.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could get that report in our packet, would that at least meet some of what you're looking for?
Well, that's for us to be involved in that. We need to know what's already on your radar,
Sure.
and so that would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be quarterly, and we could kind of
Yeah, I
Time
think
it with
quarterly
the-
would be,
with the walkthroughs, and maybe the first meeting prior to the walkthrough, and then people doing the walkthrough can kind of start connecting those to the places in the park and the
Sure.
jobs that are needed.
Yeah, so the schedule we kind of came up with, so there was a November walkthrough. That one was a little off schedule. That would normally have been in October, but there was a November walkthrough. We got a list of information. We then, I think, put that on the December Park Commission meeting, so everyone was able to see it here, talk through anything that was discovered. We are finalizing that list right now, and we have a response to each item on that walkthrough that we are planning to send out to the whole commission the Friday before the walkthrough. So that's our new schedule is, if a walkthrough is on a Tuesday, the Friday before, we're sending you, hey, here was the last walkthrough that you've already seen, and
Oh,
here's
I love
everything that we've already addressed. Here's all of our notes, whether it's, this needs council action in the form of a capital project, or we took care of this, or we can schedule this for the spring, and we will take care of it in March, and we will follow up. So that's what we're doing with that report. We'll plan to email it to this whole group that way, so people on Tuesday who are doing the walkthrough have that report and don't have to note some of the same stuff that says, hey, this is already being, responded to. And then our plan is to make that kind of a living document. So we'll have the Word master version here. When they submit their new report, we'll add those to that same list, and then we'll share it in the next Park Commission packet.
That's great.
So I think we're going to have a lot more feedback. I think we had a meeting internally to figure out how we're going to make sure it all gets followed up on, and we believe it will.
Who else has signed up for the 16th to do the walkthrough with me? Was it you?
It is me.
Can we make Nicole do it anyway?
I think we also had Melissa on that one. That one, I think
Yeah,
we
I have
had
it
3
on
for a while
Okay.
too. So
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, we do have. And generally 1 is, required, but if 2 are great. Even up to 3 can walk. So there's really no limit on that.
It's at 10:30?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
yep, I have it on
So
here.
you want
Great.
us to meet at the corner up there?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should meet here and grab the paper.
Oh,
Yes, we have a form, or you don't have to use it. It's either way.
That's
The
easier,
form
just
has a
meet
little
here.
map
Yeah,
where you
okay.
can kind of draw
Yeah.
where something is. That's helpful. And if not, just a list is fine too.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and you're welcome to come with us, because you know it.
Do we have any other suggestions on rules for the Park Commission?
This thing about capital expenditure projects, that's kind of a big one. That's almost, you send out a request for a bunch of things.
Yep.
Are we leaving rules?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, go ahead.
What was her question? What was
Are
your?
we leaving rules?
Oh,
Are you going to
No, but
item
that's-
6, or you're still?
that's
talking about
that's still
Okay.
on the,
Rules.
it's Kevin's editing to this Article 2 Park Commission.
Okay.
That probably needs to be started before January, right? Is that, when does budgeting need to be, when do things need to be on the calendar for city council to look at them?
We have that on our calendar to bring to the Park Commission in March. That gives us plenty of time. We've finalized budgeting in about August. So that gives this commission 2 or 3 months to bounce ideas back and forth, talk to council.
Okay.
And some of these would go through RCDC, I think was the intent, since they can't be maintenance and
Yeah, they need to be
operations. So,
capital improvements. But
yeah,
I
so I'm
think-
saying, I don't think it follows a budgeting process. If it goes through RCDC, I think we can bring that up at any time.
I think there's I'm not sure, but I think there's a way to get maintenance things on RCDCs. Don't quote me on that, but I think there's
Well, we
more-
used to
there's
do
some
it that way,
flexibility.
then we were told we couldn't do it that
Yeah,
way, so
yeah.
I don't know where that
I've
lies
heard it
right now.
back and forth a little bit too, okay.
But I
Well,
think-
that's,
okay, is that it for financials?
uh,
Is that it for the,
For rules?
rules?
yes, yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on to discussion number 6, discussion and possible action regarding a top 10 list of capital improvement items to be accomplished in the park. I sent around a note saying, hey, if everybody could put together a top 10 list kind of and have it in mind for this meeting. And then my thought was, between now and the next meeting, we could distribute all of our top 10 lists. Everybody could vote on them, kind of, individually, and then we could compile the statistics of what everybody thinks is a priority in the park, and bring something to the next park meeting that says, okay, this is our proposed, after tabulating all the votes, this is our proposed top 10 capital improvement goals for the park commission, and have everybody voted in, and then it's kind of a known list of, this is, you know, our priorities for the park. So if we want to discuss any particular priorities that anybody feels strongly about right now, but then my thought was after this, we all kind of distribute our lists and everybody can go, oh, that's Victoria's number 6 is, I didn't even think about that. You know, that's a good one. And then we could vote on it and maybe say in order of priority. And you vote, my number 1 priority is X, and number 2, and then everybody come up with a top 10, and then weight it, and then whatever it is, just objectively go through them and figure out what everybody voted for.
Should we send an email to Ashley and let her distribute them to?
Yeah, that's kind of my thought.
Prior to the meeting?
Yeah, after this, we all come up with a top 10 list, send it to Ashley, weighted in priority, and then she distributes all the items, and you get an opportunity to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 60 items, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of duplicatives.
Yeah.
But look at them and go, oh, I like the way Melissa worded this one, you know, that it's, you know, whatever it is.
So do you want to discuss some of those items now?
I want to just go on the record saying before you submit your list, I want you to think about what kind of maintenance and operation will be required for each of your top
Yes.
10 capital improvements, because we do not have the bandwidth to take, I mean, we're not maintaining our park well as it is. This is my broken record, this is my soapbox, this is my end all be all for being here. I feel like is that we don't keep adding to our park without the ability to maintain it. So as you look through your list, I mean, 10 is a lot.
One thing also is Kevin has put out some pretty clear documents about, the park commission is really mostly about maintenance. So I agree this is a good idea to identify these things, but we can probably expect pushback from city council on.
Well, I just think we
A
need to
lot
be
of
really
things.
thoughtful on what we're putting out there,
Yeah.
and really think through what can this park and Izzy's crew take care of, and what really enhances our park, rather than, okay, well, we have this budget over here for capital improvements, let's use it all. Really what makes sense, and just not
Well, to
getting
be
the
clear,
cart before the horse.
these capital improvements that you're proposing can be items that minimize maintenance.
Yeah.
They could be things that take away from the maintenance that Izzy has.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just saying, think
So-
through it from that perspective,
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
I think
rather
that's- I
than
think that's
10
good.
items.
So, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll be honest, I only had 3,
That's how I feel.
and they were more about minimizing maintenance and addressing some safety concerns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do think I don't think anybody's thinking we're adding a swimming pool and some extra pickleball courts. I mean, I'm doubting that.
No, but
I don't
Dang
know.
it, that was number 2 on my list.
I think that what Lori brings up is a good point.
Yeah.
We need to keep that in mind. And I also only have a few things in mind. But one of the things I have in mind, I'm talking with the trail. I was on the trail yesterday, and because this up end over here, so it's the western, I guess that's the southwestern end of the trail over here by the parking lot. Because so much of the crushed granite is gone, it's just slick with the soil that has washed down, and I slipped and I could have fallen. And so we need to do things. So dealing with the trail, which Nicole and I had been working on, that is a safety issue. So it's a maintenance / safety issue. So you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think in my mind, maintenance would be like moving the decomposed granite back onto the trail, and like a capital improvement would be either, you know, figuring out the root of the problem and doing a new either retaining wall or a French drain right there, or something that fixes the problem and is real capital dollars that we wouldn't normally spend
Well-
on maintenance.
Well, you know, from my working relationship with the Violet Crown Trail, I can tell you that sometimes you can't change what's uphill. And so what you have to do is adapt the trail so it won't be affected as much. And in this case, what Nicole and I were working on is a product that's called Staylock that is used. It was just available commercially, but now I believe there are some of it that's available possibly at Home Depot or somewhere that is used with the crushed granite, and it's a binder, and so it will keep the granite on the trail. So yes, that could be done that where it's not as much of a large, huge out-of-pocket expense.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so it's a capital improvement, but not to the extent that you have to change everything up above it.
Sure. No, it's great.
Anyway, so yeah, I only have a few items as well.
Okay.
All
Everybody
right,
good?
So we should get these to Ashley,
Yeah.
and maybe probably sooner than later.
I would propose we all
Send them
send our
tonight.
list to Ashley,
This
that
week.
that she circulates the overall list to us. We all vote before our next meeting, so that we can have the idea of having this list together before our March meeting. And then, if we want to propose to RCDC, hey, we all really feel strongly that we need Staylock on the southwest portion of the trail.
Do we have to
And
go to council before then? I think we'd have to go to council before then, right?
I don't know.
Well, the budget's done, and she said in March, so we need to.
But I think we have to go to council before we can go to RCDC. No?
I'm trying to think of the normal process. I think the council ultimately does have to approve it. So I think it's always smart to make sure it's something the council is at least interested in before going through all of the proposal and getting RCDC on board. So I think getting kind of a temperature from the council first, not necessarily a full approval because it still has to go to RCDC and then back to council, but I think giving them a whole list that says, hey, here's all the things we're interested, getting their thoughts on that, and that way with each one you can go to RCDC and understand that they already have, thoughts
So
on that item.
actually, at one meeting, RCDC had proposed I'm not gonna find the right words for it, but they were gonna set aside a certain amount of money that the parks could use, and I think 30,000 of it was supposed to go for the retaining wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then anything over that we could continue to use for the next year. Given the council approved, where is that? Where does all that stand right now?
Sure. This is getting into the next item. I think
Okay.
we're gonna have that one covered, so we can just skip it when we get there, and I'll just talk about it now. So there was a $50,000 item that the RCDC proposed, kind of for future park improvements. So it's kind of like saying, hey, we want to put aside this $50,000 for anything that the park commission wants to come request that money for capital improvement wise. That did get approved by city council. So
It
that
did or
money,
did not?
it did.
Okay.
So that was
Alright.
approved by city council. It was not earmarked for anything specific other than that $31,000 for the retaining wall. That also got approved by city council. The way that works too, city council will be getting approval or getting proposals at their next meeting for the retaining wall. So we got a few additional proposals, or at least have requested those. And so what council did last month was approve RCDC funding it. And now all they have to do is, if council then decides to move forward with the project, the funding is already good to go. Council can just do the procurement, and then RCDC will pay for it. So that 31 will come out of that 50. So there should then be 19 left.
31?
31,000.
Why did they come up with the one?
We had one proposal for 31,000, so that was the amount.
Okay.
Obviously,
It was
if it
just
comes
tracking
in
the
lower,
proposal.
Okay,
Mhm.
that was just interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the lowest one.
it was the lowest, yeah. And if it comes in lower than that, then they obviously won't use the full
Okay.
budget. Yeah.
All right, so is everybody clear on the top 10 lists?
Yes.
Everybody know their marching orders? All right, let's move on to number 7, update on the park walkthrough process and city council action on park-related items. I think that's what you were just talking about, Ashley?
Yes, I think we covered everything I had to.
Okay. Anybody got any discussion on that? Well, then I'd like to move to number 8 and thank Miss Nicole Marisi for her service to the Park Commission. I believe she served on our commission since July 2019. And I just wanted to make it an agenda item to thank her. The best boards I've ever been on, and I haven't been on as many boards as some of y'all, but I've been on more than most, comprised of people that are passionate about what they believe in and not afraid to stand up for what they believe in and articulately describe it and fight for it. And I think Nicole is a prime example of that. And I enjoyed working with you, and I'm sad to see you go. So, anyway,
here.
that's my 2 cents.
I get to comment because it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Thank you, Tara,
Yay.
for putting this on here. Just pull up my notes here. And I will monitor my time to be respectful of the 3-minute limitation. Nicole Marisi, 4906 Timberline Drive. Good afternoon, Park Commission members. Thank you for your service to Rollingwood. It has been a privilege to serve with you and your predecessors since 2019. Laurie, your balanced and sensible approach to prioritizing the park's greatest needs is admirable. Chad, you have led our meetings with conviction, timeliness, level-headedness, and not wasting anyone's time. Thank you. Don, Melissa, and Mary Elizabeth, it has been a pleasure to serve on numerous subcommittees with y'all. We have created a lot of new processes and brought hopefully great change to the city that will be beneficial and hopefully long-standing. And Victoria, I didn't have the opportunity to serve with you on a committee, but I have no doubt that given the opportunity, you and I would have been able to do great things together. Desiree, she's not here. Ashley, Michaela, thank you for your grace, your courtesy, your professionalism, and your patience all these years. It really means a lot. Steve, bless your heart. You volunteer every month your time to come here, to be a representative voice of Western Hills Little League, girls softball, to give value to the park, to the commission, and to the city of Rollingwood. So thank you for all that you've done all of these years that I've known you and prior to that. Councilmember Glasheen, I was hoping that he would have been here, and unfortunately he's not. But I would like to thank him for not reappointing me. You may think that that's a joke, but it's really not. In my opinion, I believe how he and council went about not reappointing me, it really lacked professional courtesy. And it opened my eyes of how the process is broken. And I question the democracy in Rollingwood. I hope Councilmember Glasheen holds true to his words that you all approved today in your meeting minutes. And I quote, that he would appreciate suggestions on who the Park Commission would like to have as an appointed member. And I ask each of you to seek out residents that you may know who would apply before the City Council appoints one of the 3 current residents that are in the applicant pool. I hope each member of the Parks Commission will continue to ask tough questions, encourage collegiate debate to processes that seem unreasonable, unfavorable, or discriminate against groups or organizations. And I hope you will uphold the warranty deed of the park, because that's what the park has been donated to the city for. When I shared the news with my family, they were saddened. How do you get fired from a volunteer job? But with great delight and smiles on their faces, they said, look out, Rollingwood. Now Mama is a concerned citizen. With all sincerity, I have truly enjoyed serving with each of you all. And I look forward to the great works that you will accomplish as a team. And I wish you the best in 2024 and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. All right, on that note, I
We have
make a
pol-
motion.
Nope, we have a police report.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just a report.
It's just-
We just put it in the report
Oh.
section that we don't normally discuss, but
Okay.
Candace,
Then
All
you were
good.
right. Go for it.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.